Hey, stolen cousins. You already know what time it is. Animated horror stories. Na, na, na. Animated horror stories. Dun, dun, dun. Ba-dum, boom, boom. Ba-dum, ba-dum, chum, chum, chum. All right, you all, let's get up into it. Three true honeymoon horror stories animated with who? With our great cousins. I am our Scaris House. You know we love it over here. Let's get on into it. Yeah, we're just jumping into it today, you know? Please feel free to like the video, subscribe, go over to their channel, like their videos, subscribe. This video is from 2 weeks ago. Um, So if you want to watch their stuff as they post it, feel free to go over there, but make sure you come back. And yeah, let's get into it, y'all. Y'all already know, please grab a blunt, grab a bottle of water, grab a bag of chips, and grab a blanket so you can be snug, please. Yeah. hmm
My name is Alex, and
Whoa.
my name is Alex, and
Okay.
besides being a police officer, I'm also a volunteer firefighter. You would
Okay.
think having these two professions I would have many anecdotes to tell, but believe it or not, the worst moment of my life was neither in fire nor in a shooting, but on my honeymoon.
Okay.
Needless to say, we were both very happy. We had spent the first night in a paradisical hotel in Brazil, and although we had to get up early the next day, we decided to spend the night having a few drinks at the hotel bar. Everything was going well. We were having a great time remembering our day at the beaches of Sao Paulo, until something caught my attention. The bartender at the place kept looking at us.
I was gonna say he looked
No,
weird.
he wasn't looking at me. He was only looking at Lisa, my wife. He wasn't even trying to dissimulate that he was looking at her. His eyes were frozen on her while he was drawing a cup I don't know how many seconds ago. It
Mm-mm.
was as if there was nothing between them. And the worst of it was that Lisa didn't realize it. She was still innocently talking to me about the food at the hotel. In the
Mm-mm.
middle of my distraction, Lisa innocently called him to ask for another drink, to which he approached. Lisa nonchalantly ordered her drink, but in a matter of seconds, she began to feel more and more uncomfortable. The man was looking at her eyes in a penetrating way. She could hear him breathing violently, more and more agitated.
Say
Hey,
something.
does my wife have something on her face?
Period.
Hey, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf?
At my answer, the man stopped looking at Lisa for the first time, turned his head towards me. In my job, I learned not to feel intimidated and to be able to face these situations. But I have to admit that, even
man
though
was
I didn't
crazy.
show it, I was afraid. After looking at me for a few seconds, the man, without saying a word to me,
He
walked
walked away.
away to prepare the drink.
What was that? Did I say something to him?
No,
Girl, no.
he's been looking at you like that for a long time now.
I don't want to have that drink. Let's go.
And without further ado, we went back to our room. I wasn't worried about not paying for the drink. We had already talked about the bill coming to our room when we left. We got to our room and I must admit that
Damn.
we had a few too many drinks, so we went to sleep.
You're lying. You're lying.
I woke up with a bolt, the moonlight shining on
Oh,
my
okay. It was a
face.
nightmare.
I looked at the clock and it
Ooh.
was only 4 a.m. I usually sleep through the night, especially when I drink alcohol.
Your
So
wife still
what
there?
made me wake up so fast? I didn't have to look far for the answer, as he was standing
You're
right in front of me,
lying.
in complete darkness, standing at the end of my bed.
Oh,
the light
hell
coming
no.
from the window didn't reach. The
Boom,
silhouette
boom,
of a
boom,
person
boom,
was
boom.
standing still.
You know?
I had no trouble identifying them. It was the bartender from before. Like before, he was just standing. But this time he
No.
wasn't looking at Lisa, who was sleeping next to me. He was looking at me. I tried to stand up, to attack him and save us from whatever was happening,
Period.
but I couldn't. It was as if my body
You
was
scary.
as frozen as his.
It's okay.
Every joint in my body
I'd
was
be scared
cramped
too.
and
I
my
would
hands
pee.
and face began to sweat. I was terrified. paralyzed with terror. Meanwhile,
He was
the
just
bartender was
staring.
still in front of us. His left
With the
hand was
drink?
holding something, but I couldn't see
Get
what it
out!
Was he going to use it to
You
hurt us?
creepy
I
bastard!
could also see how his right hand was twitching restlessly. The man was scratching his whole body nervously. I
Ain't
heard
you
a noise
itchy?
next to
No.
me and I turned around. Lisa was awake. She couldn't scream either. She was crying.
Oh, both of y'all was just
Her eyes were telling me that this could be the last time we would see each other. That we were
That
at the
was
mercy of a person that not only was possibly armed, but that his very presence made us feel like ants in front of him. Seeing Lisa without hope, crying, awakened something
got up?
within me. I
Good
told
shit.
myself that I'm a cop, that I'm trained
You're
to
a
deal
cop,
with
a
these people,
firefighter, and a
and that I would
husband.
not allow anyone to do anything to my wife.
Good
Even if
shit.
I was lying down and unarmed,
Uh-huh.
I would defend myself,
Yup.
filled with courage.
You got
I
up
was encouraged to say the first words,
eventually.
breaking the silence in the darkened room.
What are you doing here? What do
Okay.
you want?
In response, the man's
No.
gaze became
Get
even
up.
more
Get
piercing and his
up.
body began to move in my direction. Everything inside my head was screaming at me to run away,
Like, get
to
up.
escape, to defend myself from this man.
At least
But I
get
could
up.
only strain back a little, ready to defend myself from
Come
whatever this man
on.
could do to me. Instead of attacking me, the man, without taking his eyes off of me, put a glass on the bedside table next to the
I
bed.
think the drink.
You forgot your drink.
Get your
And the
ass
man turned
out
to
my
me and
room.
walked towards the exit door. From there, he turned his head one last time and looked me straight in the eyes. Then, he simply walked away. I ran to the door and turned on the electricity.
Y'all
Once the
needed
light
some air?
illuminated the room, Lisa and I
See,
just
look at
hugged
that.
each other
See,
crying.
Told you. I
A
would've
few
seen.
minutes later, we fearfully went to talk to the hotel authorities. Once we
You don't
did
even
that,
work there.
they went to look for the bartender, but he was gone. All his things were there. He just left.
Yeah,
the
'cause
next
he just
day,
did some creepy
The
shit.
hotel manager approached us to tell that the man was no longer working with them. They were planning to fire him for his strange behavior,
Obviously.
but he had never done anything like that before. From that night on, no one ever saw him again. We left that hotel a few days later and never knew if the man ever came back. Even though we never saw him, his terrifying look will always be in my nightmares. Every time I wake up, I feel that he is there,
You be still
watching
thinking
us,
about him?
getting ready to do whatever it is he didn't dare do that night.
He just wanted to deliver y'all a drink. That was crazy. That made my anxiety go off. I would have
This
died.
is the final boarding call for passengers Aaron and Fred Collins, booked on flight 372A to Kansas City. Please proceed to gate 3 immediately. The final checks are being completed, and the captain will order for the doors of...
Hurry up, we're gonna miss the flight.
I'm trying my best, okay?
I
Are
told
you
you not
though?
to wear those heels.
But you said you like how I walk in them.
He
Bitch.
sure does.
Who the fuck?
Mind your own business.
Oh, come on, Fred. The poor man was just complimenting me.
Girl,
I
this
know
is
I'm
not
nice
the
to look
time.
at.
Whatever.
Just find our seats. My legs are hurting.
But I haven't done anything yet.
Oh,
You're getting into the honeymoon mood.
oh y'all freaky.
I just can't wait to. Excuse me, lovebirds. If it's not too much trouble, can I take my seat? What the hell is your problem,
Like-
dude? Right now, you and your fine wife. You sure the luckiest son of a witch. How did even a guy like you? Hey, you're crossing your limits.
Like,
Fred, leave that freak and just sit beside me.
how are you
Oh,
just mad?
that view is so nice.
Hope you have a nice trip. I can't believe I have to tolerate this Mr. Fart Breath now.
Just a few hours more, and I'll take you to heaven.
Oh, honey. I wish it was my behind. Oh, yuck!
You're lying.
I cannot take this anymore.
You're lying.
Listen, you monkey balls! I'm tired of your crap right now! Just one more freak stunt and I will rip off your chest hair with my shiny nails! Get it?
You look way spicy when you scream like that. Okay, that's
Boy.
it. I'm calling the attendant.
How may I help you, sir?
We want this man removed from his seat. He's being disrespectful to my wife. I mean, this is our honeymoon, and he...
Sorry, sir. There's no empty seat available at the moment. I'm afraid you'll just have to adjust among yourselves.
Looks like you're stuck with me. Knock it off or I'll knock you out, creep!
Period. Feels like when I beat his ass, you know?
What's happening, Fred? Are we going to die?
We're not dying in this plane. Not with this freak sitting behind me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some turbulence. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
Like, I know
Oh,
that
good
you're not,
lord.
or are you?
We finally landed.
Yeah, can't wait to get off this plane.
That man hasn't spoken a word since...
Maybe the turbulence scared him.
Look, he's going to the bathroom.
Perfect. Walk fast so he can't follow us anymore.
I don't see him anywhere.
I don't even want to.
Keep
Now,
going.
can we please stop mentioning that weirdo, Aaron?
Fine.
Exactly.
Wait here. I don't think I can hold it any longer.
That's why I told you not to
Boy.
stress eat. Don't be too long.
Oh,
Feeling lighter now? More than ever.
no fucking way. Ew, you nasty bastard.
Poor Fred. This must have been a hell of a scare. Get lost! Leave me alone! Ah! You
Period.
shouldn't have done that, Fred! Why are you following me? Because you started it, Fred! You insulted me in front of your wife, and then she did the same too! You may want to look out for her. I have crushed little birdies like her with my lawnmower several times. Now open the door and face me like a man.
Can you
Come
fight,
out,
Fred?
come out! If you don't go away right now, my wife will bring the securities. You'll be arrested for harassing me. You know what I'm gonna do once you come out? I'll chop off your cherries.
Can you fight,
No! Aaron! Somebody! Please help me! Help! Make it stop! You can't hide now! Open it! Open it! Somebody, please help me. Please stop.
Fred? You about to pass
Make it
out?
stop.
Don't pass out. He will grab you from underneath the thing.
Fred! Fred! Wake up! Are you all right?
Ma'am, you can't go in.
But that's my husband! We just came here for our honeymoon!
What happened,
Doctor,
Fred?
he just had a panic attack. His wife said they were on his honeymoon.
Hello, Fred. Are you enjoying your trip? What?
Boy,
No.
ain't no way.
No! This story was submitted by a viewer who claims that he and his wife was harassed by a creepy man while they were traveling from Las Vegas to Kansas City.
Okay.
The viewer also alleges that man followed him to the Kansas airport's washroom and harassed him. Later, it was understood that man was Doctor and was suffering from schizophrenia.
Crazy.
Everyone thinks I'm dead, but I'm not. If he finds out that I'm alive, I'm not sure what he'll do. So,
Okay.
in order to protect myself and keep living my life, I need to stay hidden from him forever. It happened a few months ago when I was on a honeymoon with my husband. Shreen and I were
Girl.
exploring the beautiful city where he had decided to take me.
Everybody for somebody.
Look at that architecture. The beauty of this place.
Make sure you snap a picture of me in front of that fountain.
I posed in front of the beautiful fountain, my hands above my head and my mouth wide open in laughter. We were having such a wonderful time until we got lost and decided to take a shortcut through a dark alley. That's when my life changed forever.
Y'all like use your GPS?
It was already dusk and my better instincts told me not to. Still, my husband put my mind at ease. Oh, come on, Holly. Nothing bad ever happens in a place like this.
Fine. I
boy.
guess you're right. Let's go.
We walked for what seemed like an eternity, the cold air of the alleyway stinging my face. I looked up at the night sky to admire the stars, listening to the footsteps of my husband grow distant. It was relaxing here. Suddenly, however,
Someone's behind
I
you?
heard footsteps behind us. Before I knew it, two masked figures had emerged from the shadows and were quickly hurrying towards us.
Oh, y'all better
Chills
run.
ran down my spine as the figures came closer, their faces hidden behind masks.
You're not
I
running?
turned down the alleyway, looking for my husband.
Shreen, where are you?
Bitch, run!
I called out for him, but he was already gone. With horror, I turned back toward the masked figures and saw them sprinting toward me now, their footsteps
just standing?
echoing in my ears. The faces beneath their masks looked scarred and blotted, as if they'd been severely burned. Their eyes were blood red.
And you
I could
are
see
just
the
watching.
insanity in their stares.
What do you want? Stop! Get
Run!
away from me!
I knew I had to escape, and quickly ran for my life, dodging around
This
boxes and old
pisses me
dumpsters, listening to their footsteps growing ever closer. Eventually, however, I managed to find my way onto a busy street. The next thing I knew, my husband was there in front of me, looking around as if he was searching for something. He was shocked to see me and smiled with relief. Holly, where have you been? I've been looking all over for you.
Were you, though?
Back there!
Were you?
Two men were chasing me! Where were you?
I could barely catch my breath, and my husband pointed toward the alleyway as I panted. Back in the alley? I don't see anyone, darling. Are you sure you weren't just imagining
bitch,
it?
Where were you?
I shook my head and hugged him tightly, relieved to be back in his arms. We returned to the hotel, my heart still pounding from the experience. Eventually, I calmed down. I decided I was never going into another alleyway again, and at the very least, not lagging behind my husband. Later that night, after I had fallen asleep, I awoke suddenly to a strange noise. I heard the lock clicking and the door beginning to creak open. I could see it from our bed. The door silently sliding open. Inch by inch, it slid effortlessly open, but I couldn't move from the shock. It wasn't weird that the door was being opened. What was the weirdest part about it was that I remembered, as clear as day, deadbolting it before I fell asleep. Why wasn't it deadbolted? Before I had time to think, however, I saw two masked figures step into the room. I gasped, my heart racing and terror rushing through me. It was the same two masked men from the alleyway, and they advanced silently into the room.
Yeah.
I was terrified, and I was about to scream when suddenly a hand clapped over my mouth. I stilled, recognizing that it was the hand of my husband.
What'd I say?
Struggling, I looked at him in horror as the two men in masks taped my mouth shut. He must have understood that I was trying to ask him what was happening. His horrific face gleamed in the moonlight. I saw who he really was for the first time. His evil eyes and foul mouth told me everything. His scars, which I had found charming, had taken on an evil glint as I realized what he really was. You really thought you had gotten away from them in the alleyway, didn't you?
Wow.
I didn't hire them for nothing. And just like that, the men had taped my arms together and began to drag me from the hotel. They loaded me into the trunk of their car, and the last thing I remember seeing before the trunk shut was my husband watching from the window. Nearly 2 hours later, the car stopped in an isolated area and the trunk was opened. The two masked men roughly pulled me out, then ripped the tape off my mouth.
Please, don't do this. Please.
You got lucky this time. If your husband wasn't such a cheapskate, you'd be in a ditch right now. But he didn't pay enough. We'll take the money and leave you here. From now on, you're on your own. At that, they got into their car and drove off.
Lucky duck.
I was left alone in the middle of nowhere, scared, exhausted, and sobbing. It felt like a nightmare that wouldn't end. Now I had to avoid my husband and his associates, never going into a place where they might find me. I walked for miles through the wilderness, till I came across a road and managed to hitchhike to the nearest town. I know my husband thinks I'm dead, but if he ever found out that I was still alive, then my life would be in danger. This is why I must remain hidden and take every precaution so that he never finds me again. I still don't know why he wanted me gone. I don't know if it was because of a mistress or something else. But I do know that if he ever finds me, then my life will be in grave danger. The thrilling tale you just watched is based on the real-life story of Annie Dewani, whose husband got rid of her. She and her husband were on a honeymoon trip when she was abducted and disposed of. Her abductees were later identified and blamed her husband, Shreen Dewani, for hiring them. Although he was later acquitted, many still believe that Shreen Dewani allegedly was responsible for his wife's attack and
Obviously.
abduction.
Mm, mm, mm. Based on the true story, but they flipped it and reversed it and said that she got away alive. That's nice of them. We appreciate y'all giving us a good ending, even though, in reality, it was a bad one. Let me know which one was your favorites. Truthfully, I enjoyed all of these. I love me some IMR. They always sneak in some truth up in there. 2 out of 3 of the stories had, the little true little clippets. And they always just, flipping it, what is it? Flip it, dip it, and reverse it. You know? Y'all don't get rid of me. Y'all love me. Y'all love me. Y'all love it here. Y'all love it here. I love y'all. Yes. Let me know which one you thought was the best. Truthfully, that last one was crazy because, girl, there's someone for everybody, but he had all them scars on his face, and you said that, you thought they was charming. Okay, understandable. But, like, he never give you no funny vibes until y'all got there. You went running to him, said, "Where were you at?" And he said, "Bitch, where were you at?" Like, no, no, where were you at? Like, I just ran from 2 niggas. And you trying to tell me, "Oh, I don't see nobody." Like, you don't be watching. And then, what happened? What? Story number 2, that man being what ran down on at the at every location he was at. How you gonna run down on me and my wife? Sorry, this is me and my wife. Gonna talk about her feet look good. Like, I don't even want her wearing the heels because we're running late, and you want to sit here talking to me in my face. And then the first one, I believe, that creepy ass man in the motherfucking bar, and then pulling up to their room. Like, I would have died, truthfully. I would have been dead. I'm dead, and no, I don't want no drink. You forgot your martini. Fuck you in this martini. Get out of here. Yeah. Let me know which one you thought was your favorites. And until next time, you guys, I love y'all. Goodbye.